Shipped back, a term I first heard in a BBC documentary describing a situation where parents sent their children back to their native country for schooling. And they do this for various reasons. Number one, to help their children familiarize themselves with their native culture. Number two, for financial and practical reasons. When the cost of taking care of the children is too high, so they find it easier to send them back to their native country to stay with relatives. Another reason why parents ship their children to their native country is due to the fear of losing them to Western cultures and ideologies at the expense of their native culture. A fourth reason why parents ship their children back home is for fear of losing their child to Child Protective Services or the government. Recently, there was a news that was widely circulated on social media about how a Nigerian doctor lost the custody of his 16-year-old son to the UK government. The story has it that the doctor caught his son with his friends in their home watching inappropriate content, and he lost his cool, grabbed his belt, and beat up the child in the presence of his friends. Well, his friends called up the police arrived, got involved in the situation, they went to court, and after interviewing the boy told them that his father is always harsh on him and beating him and forcing him to pursue a career path that he is not interested in pursuing. The father wanted him to be a doctor also. So after the investigations and court hearing, the court ordered for the child to be removed from his parents and be put in the custody of the UK government. Now, this is the fear of many migrant parents. So they send their children back to their native countries where they believe the child can be disciplined as deemed fit by the parent or the caregivers without any interference by the government. Another reason why parents ship their children back home to live for a couple of years is that quite a number of migrant parents have investments in their home country, and they feel that sending their children back home is a way to enable the children know a little bit more about the country, about the society, about how things are done in their home country, with the aim that these children will be able to take over their investments later on in the future when the parents retire or when the parents are no longer. On the other side of the spectrum, there are many parents relocating daily to the US, UK, Canada, Australia, Europe, just name it. And one of their primary reasons for relocating with their children is to give them a better life. So while one side of the spectrum are shipping their children from the Western world to their native countries, another category are uprooting their children from their native country to the Western world to give them a better life. And yet, there are other category of people who believe in migrating and leaving the children totally back in their native country. For them, they believe that the children are better off growing up in their native country, and later on, when they are much older, they can then migrate to the Western country. What is your take on this subject? Which category do you belong in or do you believe in? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And while you're doing that, consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you. Parenting in the Western world is different from what it is in Africa or in Asia. And the major difference is that the rights of the child is protected and defended by the law. So unless a parent is intentional and open-minded about learning the best way to parent when you move abroad, there will be a lot of power struggle at home, and this can escalate easily, and it will get to the knowledge of the school, it will get to the knowledge of the authorities, and in some cases you will lose your child to waywardness and gangsterism, while in extreme cases you could lose the custody of your child to the authority. So what can a parent do to navigate the struggles of parenting abroad? Number one is to be open-minded. Having an open mind will make you receptive to new ideas, to ideas that are different from what you are used to, and it will help you to adapt and adjust to the dictates of the new environment. Number 2 is to continuously educate yourself. Personally, what I do is to always ask questions. When I see a family that I admire the children, I do take a step to ask questions from the parents. What is your parenting style? What do you do to raise these children to turn out like this? Also at work, when I see very young colleagues who are focused and doing very well cultured and mannered, I also usually ask them, what was it like growing up with your parents? What did your parents do to make you turn out like this? What were discipline measures and things like that? The responses I get from these questions are usually the things that I add to my own parenting toolbox, because I am a mom of 3 kids who are all now they are in their preteens, so I am always asking questions and educating myself how best to navigate the parenting journey. The second way I educate myself is by reading books, listening to podcasts, watching relevant YouTube channels, reading from blog articles, attending to events where they teach about parenting and how to be a better parent. The challenge of parenting is universal, and there are parents who are raising healthy, responsible children. What we need to do is to emulate from those people what they have done that worked for them and replicate it in our own homes in order to also get positive results out of our parenting efforts. I have a couple of books that I have relied on right from when I started having my kids to now that they are preteens, and I'll be sharing this with you so that you can look them up if you will and use them to support yourself in your parenting journey. The number 1 book on my list is How to Talk So Kids Can Learn. This book helped me a lot right from when I had my first child. She is a strong-willed child. From when she was 2 years old, I knew that I had a lot of work on my hand, and I went researching and I found this book, and I must tell you, this book saved my life. The second book is a book by Dr. James Dobson. This is Bringing Up Boys. It also has Bringing Up Girls, and I have both of them. It's just I can't find the other one now, but I'll put it on the screen. This book equips you as a parent on the uniqueness of your male child and your female child and the role you play in raising them. The third book I have is Talk Now, Talk Later. How to lead kids through life tough topics. This book teaches you how to talk to kids about difficult topics such as death, divorce, God, sex, money, and many other topics like that. This is very helpful, and it lets you understand that it is a continuous process. And the latest book that I added to my library for parenting books is this very book, A House United: Changing Children's Hearts and Behaviors by Teaching Self-Government. This book teaches you how to govern yourself as a parent and to teach your children how to govern themselves. It teaches actions, choices, and consequences. I got these books after we arrived in the Netherlands. I saw that my children changed suddenly. They became very vocal. They became more expressive. Power struggle increased. They suddenly realized that they have rights and they are allowed to say their mind as it is. So I went searching for a resource. I knew that the books I had when they were 2 years, 3 years would not work now that they are approaching preteens. So I got this very book, and I must tell you, it has saved my life, and I can see the impact of this book that I read on the parenting style that I do have today. They understand about choices, they also understand about consequences, and this book made it possible for me to learn these things. Another book also that I find very helpful for parents that are struggling with wayward children, Bringing Home the Prodigals. You will see it on the screen. This book will help you if you are struggling with a wayward child. It will help to train you how you can behave and comport yourself towards that child in a way that you can influence that child to come back to his senses and to return back home if he has already left home, or to return back to his senses to the child that you wished you had. And two other resources I still refer to is a website, Empowering Parents website. This website is rich with articles for parents, any subject at all, especially defiant children, power struggle, and things like that. Visit this website. There are tons and tons of articles for you there to help you in your parenting journey. And lastly, there is a YouTube channel that I watch that has a full playlist on parenting things. I would also link all of these resources in the description of this video. Avail yourself the opportunity to educate yourself, equip yourself with the tools and resources, the knowledge you need to navigate the parenting challenges. My own take around this subject is that parenting cannot be outsourced to a relative, to the school, to the society, or to anybody at all. Parenting requires intentionality. It requires that you are present physically, emotionally, spiritually, and also financially. A lot of the time, parents focus on the financial aspect of parenting, just working and providing enough for the child. But it goes beyond that. Emotional availability, spiritual support, financial and physical presence goes a long way. Nobody will raise your child the way you should. It is your responsibility to raise your child. Do not outsource it to any other person. And if you choose to take your children back home for cultural reasons, that is also possible. But my advice is that you do so as a family. You go back to your home country as a family and stay for a couple of years that you want to stay, and live and raise your children yourself. Example of someone who's done that is this Ghanaian family, a dad of 7 children with a German wife who recently relocated to Ghana after 33 years overseas. He lived in Germany and in the UK, and the last 2 years he took his whole family back to Ghana, and it was a family decision. So you want to check them out to see how they did it and how he's able to achieve that. Raising kids abroad comes with its challenges. So also is raising kids in your native country. The only difference is the laws governing how you exert your authority as a parent over your child. There are several reasons why the Western society may not be suitable for everyone. And I have a video addressing this, which you will find on the screen. So subscribe to my channel, go watch that video, and I will see you there.